I woke up to silence, and I don't mean that peaceful, lazy Saturday morning kind of silence. I mean the kind of silence that feels wrong, the kind that makes your stomach drop before your brain even catches up. It was Saturday morning of Labor Day weekend, 7:40 a.m. I was in my childhood bedroom at my mother Carol's house in Crestwood, Ohio. The sun was coming through the same faded curtains I've known since I was 8 years old, and the house was empty. Not quiet. Empty. My name is Faith Terrell. I'm 34 years old. I own a small bookkeeping firm on Main Street in Crestwood, and for the last 6 years since my father died, I have been the person who holds this family together. But that morning, there was no smell of coffee. No sound of my sister Brooke on the phone. No sound of my brother Dean and my brother-in-law Josh arguing about the grill. No sound of my mom humming in the kitchen. I sat up in bed and just listened, and then I heard it. Nothing. No cars in the driveway. No voices through the thin walls. Just the ticking of the hallway clock. I walked downstairs in my socks. The living room was perfect. Too perfect. The throw pillows were arranged. The kitchen was spotless. And both of our family cars, my mom's Subaru and Brooke's Honda, they were gone. For a second, I actually thought we had a fire drill or something, and they left without waking me. I called out, "Mom? Brooke?" No answer. On the kitchen counter, under a ceramic frog we use as a paperweight, there was a single sheet of printer paper. In my mother's neat schoolteacher handwriting, it said, "Faith, water tomatoes every morning, they're fussy. Grandma Ruth, meds at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Food in her fridge. Trash goes out Tuesday. We'll call you. XOXO, Mom. We'll call you." I stared at that note until the letters blurred. 2 weeks before, my mom had called me. "Faith, honey, don't make any plans for Labor Day weekend, okay? Keep it open. The whole weekend." For the last month, something weird had been happening. During our Sunday family dinners, my mom and Brooke would be whispering in the kitchen, and the second I walked in, they'd stop. Just dead silence. Once my 12-year-old niece Ava, Brooke's daughter, tugged on my sleeve and said, "Aunt Faith, are you excited for the—" And Brooke cut her off so fast. "Ava, go help your uncle." I thought, God, I thought they were planning something nice for me. You have to understand. For 6 years, since my dad died of a heart attack at 57, I had stepped up. I didn't have to be asked. I just did it. I handled the taxes, the bills, the insurance claims, the medical schedules for my grandma, the constant repairs on our little family cottage at Lake Ardan, the place my dad built with his own hands. I keep a secret green 3-ring binder in my office. No one knows about it. Every single receipt, every property tax bill I paid, every plumber, every roofer. I never showed it to anyone. I didn't want credit. I just thought that's what you do for family. So when they were whispering, I let myself believe they were finally saying, "Faith does so much, let's surprise her." I even cleared my entire schedule. I had a non-refundable seat at a bookkeeper's conference in Columbus that weekend, a huge opportunity for my business. I gave it up. I told my clients, family weekend. The night before, Friday, my mom invited me for pot roast, my favorite. "Sleep over, honey, so we can have a nice slow morning," she said. I saw suitcases packed near the laundry room door when I arrived. 2 big ones and Brooke's kids' duffel bags. My heart actually fluttered. I thought, we're really doing it. We're going to the cottage tomorrow morning, all of us. I fell asleep in my childhood bedroom listening to my family laughing and talking through the walls. I felt so included, so loved, and then I woke up to that note. I called my mom once, straight to voicemail, not even a ring. I stood there in that empty kitchen, holding that stupid chore list, water tomatoes, give meds to my 83-year-old grandmother who they also left behind, take out the trash. I was the house sitter. At noon, my phone buzzed. Not a call, an Instagram notification. Brooke had posted a story. I opened it. There they all were. At Lake Ardan, our cottage, my dad's cottage. My mom, Brooke, Dean, Josh, the kids, all on the dock in their swimsuits, holding beers, sun on their faces, laughing. Dean was doing a cannonball. Ava was wearing the hat I bought her, and across the top in Brooke's bubbly font with 3 laughing emojis it said, "Best trip ever," when she's not around. LOL. I didn't cry. I didn't throw my phone. I didn't call and scream. Something cold and very calm washed over me. I put the watering can down. I did not water my mother's fussy tomatoes. I locked the house. I got in my car and drove to my apartment, took a long shower, and put on real clothes. Not pajamas. Real, armor-like clothes, jeans, a blazer. And then I drove to Cedar Street to see the only other person they had left behind, my grandmother Ruth. She's 83. She lives alone in a little house with a garden she can't really bend over to tend anymore. I knocked, and she opened the door, and we just looked at each other. She knew. We sat at her kitchen table, and she made us scrambled eggs and toast. We didn't talk about the cottage. We talked about her doctor's appointment. We talked about the weather. We avoided it the way you avoid a bruise. Until Ruth said, "Your mother told me it was an adult's getaway, and that the stairs at the cottage would be too difficult for me." A lie. Ruth walks 2 miles every morning. The cottage has a ramp my dad built for her 5 years ago. Then Ruth said something that made my ears ring. "You know, it's funny. Your mother brought over a church folder last week. It was packed with paperwork." I thought, well, no one packs paperwork for a swim. Paperwork. I got up to help Ruth clear her iPad before her telehealth appointment. She has 47 apps open at all times and doesn't know how to close them. I picked it up to clear the clutter, and there it was, on the lock screen, a calendar notification in big white letters. September 1st, 11 a.m., Gary Sutton Realty, Cottage, final walkthrough. Realtor, at our cottage. Labor Day Monday. My hands went cold. I looked at Ruth. She was washing the pan. She hadn't seen it. I swiped open the iPad. The Messages app popped up. And it was not logged into Ruth's Apple ID. It was logged into Brooke's. Brooke must have logged in once and never logged out. And at the top of her messages, pinned, was a group chat. The name of the group chat was Cottage Crew. Created in May. 4 members. Carol, Brooke, Dean, Josh. Everyone except me. I clicked it. And what I read in the next 5 minutes rewrote the last 6 years of my life. The first message I saw was from Carol. Ava had apparently asked, "What about Aunt Faith?" And my mother had replied, "Not this one, honey, she'll do the math out loud." She'll do the math out loud. There was a budget file attached. I opened it. It was my template, the exact spreadsheet template I created for my bookkeeping clients. They had used my own work to plan a trip they excluded me from. I scrolled up. Messages about getting rid of the money pit. Messages about meeting Sunday night before the realtor comes Monday. And then, the one that made me put the iPad down. Dean, if we list at $295, we clear enough for the franchise deposit right. I need $60K locked by September 15th or I lose the territory. My brother Dean. For 2 years, he's been talking about buying a gym franchise. He needed $60,000. My mother replied, "Don't tell Faith till it's done. You know how she gets." You know how she gets. How I get? How do I get? How I get when I find out my family is secretly selling my dead father's cottage behind my back to fund my brother's gym. I sat there in my grandmother's quiet kitchen, with the smell of scrambled eggs still in the air, and I finally understood. I wasn't left home because they forgot me. I wasn't left home because I was too uptight to have fun. I was left home because I was the only one who would have said, "You can't do that, that's Dad's house." I was the problem they had to remove to pull this off. I closed the iPad. I kissed Ruth on the forehead. I told her I had to go handle something at the office. I drove back to my apartment. I went straight to my home office. To the bottom shelf. To the green 3-ring binder. I opened it. 6 years of receipts. Property taxes, $14,200. Septic system replacement, $18,500. Roof patch after the storm, insurance, plumbing. My hands shaking so hard I had to redo it 3 times. Of my own money, though, for $295,000 and split it without me. I didn't sleep. I stared at that binder until Sunday morning. And on Sunday morning, I went back to Ruth because I had one more question. And what she told me next changed everything. If you've ever been the responsible one in your family, you know this feeling. The feeling that you are being punished for being reliable. By Sunday morning, I had not slept in 36 hours. I had read that secret group chat, Cottage Crew, 3 times. Every message was burned into my brain. Don't tell Faith till it's done, you know how she gets. Not this one, honey, she'll do the math out loud. $60,000 for Dean's gym franchise. I had that green binder open on my kitchen table. $61,400. That's what I had paid, in secret, to keep our father's cottage from falling into the lake. My dad, Thomas Terrell, died 6 years ago. Heart attack at the kitchen table. He was 57. He left us no life insurance, a house with a mortgage, and that cottage at Lake Ardan that had been in our family for 40 years. A little 2-bedroom, wood-paneled, leaky roof slice of heaven. When he died, my mom, Carol, looked at me and said, "I don't know how to do any of this, Faith." So I did it. I took over the bills, the taxes. I negotiated with the bank. I called the insurance. I learned how to winterize pipes from YouTube at 2 a.m. No one asked me to. And no one ever said thank you. They just got used to it. And now they were selling it behind my back. On Sunday morning at 8 a.m. sharp, I was back at my grandmother Ruth's house. I brought her medication and I brought that green binder. I needed to tell someone the truth. Ruth is 83, but her mind is a steel trap. She looked at the binder, she looked at my face, and she said, "You found out they're selling it, didn't you?" I froze. "You knew?" She sighed. Carol came over with that folder. I saw a paper that said listing agreement. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought maybe your dad would want you to have a say. That was when I asked her, "Ruth, is there anything about the cottage that Dad told you? Anything legal?" Ruth went quiet for a long time. She got up, went to her old oak dresser, and pulled out a small, faded blue address book. She flipped to the back where she tapes important things. She said, 8 years ago, before he got sick, your father and I were talking. He was worried about Carol. He said, "Mom, Carol is a wonderful woman, but she can't manage money. If something happens to me, she'll sell the cottage for $1." So he went to see old man Henderson, the lawyer in town. My heart started pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. He redid the deed, Faith. He put your name on it as joint owner with rights of survivorship. He said, "Faith is the only one who will protect it." I couldn't breathe. "Are you sure, Ruth? Are you absolutely sure?" "Your father showed me the paper. He kept a copy in his gun safe." The gun safe. My mom still had it in her closet. Combination November 24th, 2067, my parents' anniversary. I drove straight to my mom's empty house. I knew the code to the garage. I went upstairs. The safe was there. I spun the dial. 2467. Inside, under the old pistol and some war medals, was a manila envelope. Quitclaim deed, dated 2016. Thomas J. Terrell. Grantees Thomas J. Terrell, as joint tenants with rights of survivorship. My name on the deed. For 8 years. I owned that cottage. Legally. 50%. And because Dad had passed, I owned it outright with my mom as co-owner. They could not sell it without me. No realtor could list it without both signatures. For the first time in 2 days, I smiled. Not a happy smile. A calm, dangerous smile. I went home. I took a shower, I made coffee. I sat at my desk in my little bookkeeping office on Main Street, and I opened my laptop. I searched Gary Sutton Realty, Crestwood, Ohio. I found his email, and at exactly 9:12 p.m. on Sunday night, I wrote the most important email of my life. Subject, urgent, legal hold, 14 Lake Ardan Road, not for sale. Mr. Sutton, my name is Faith Terrell. I am the legal co-owner of 14 Lake Ardan Road, Lake Ardan, Ohio. I am writing to inform you that this property is not for sale and cannot be listed, shown, or sold without my express written consent as a joint owner on the deed recorded in 2016. Any attempt to list this property without my signature will result in immediate legal action for slander of title and fraud. I have attached a copy of the deed. Please confirm receipt of this email immediately and cancel your appointment for tomorrow at 11 a.m. Do not contact my family members regarding this matter. Contact me directly. Regards, Faith L. Terrell. I attached the photo of the deed. I hit send. And then I turned off my phone and went to sleep. For the first time in 2 days, I slept like a baby because I knew what was going to happen at 11 a.m. on Labor Day Monday. Labor Day morning. The irony. The day America celebrates hard work. I took my grandmother Ruth to the farmer's market. We bought peaches. We got coffee outside the library and watched the parade. I felt peaceful, almost giddy. At 11 a.m. at Lake Ardan Cottage, my entire family was waiting on the porch in their best casual clothes, ready to impress the realtor and sell my father's house out from under me. At 11 a.m., Gary Sutton pulled up in his black Lexus. I wasn't there, but I can picture it exactly from the voicemails I got later. Gary Sutton gets out, shakes hands. Carol is all smiles. Dean is talking about closing fast. Brooke is already planning what to do with the money. And Gary says, "I'm sorry, folks, there's been a complication. I got an email last night from the co-owner. She says the property is not for sale." Silence. "What co-owner?" my mom would have said. "Faith Terrell," he would have said. "She sent me the deed. Her name is on it. Joint owner since 2016. She says if you proceed, she'll sue." And then he left. 10 minutes. The whole meeting lasted 10 minutes. He got back in his car and drove away, leaving my family standing on the dock, staring at the lake. At 11:04 a.m., my phone, which I had turned back on, lit up. "Mom, incoming call." I declined. "Brooke, incoming call." Declined. "Dean, incoming call." Declined. Then it started vibrating nonstop. It didn't stop for 13 hours. By midnight on Labor Day, I had 63 missed calls from 5 different numbers. 63. In between the calls, texts were coming in. My niece Ava, 12 years old. "Aunt Faith, why is everyone shouting at the cottage?" Ava again. An hour later, Mommy deleted the Instagram story. On Tuesday morning, I finally listened to the voicemails, in chronological order, with a cup of coffee, like it was a podcast. Dean, 11:32 a.m. Monday, shouting, "Faith, what the hell did you do? Do you know you just killed my franchise? I had a deadline. Call me back right now." Brooke, crying, "Faith, please. Mom is having a panic attack. I didn't know it was going to be like this. She told us you didn't want to come." Patty, my aunt, 3 p.m. "Faith, honey, this family doesn't sue each other. Let's be reasonable." Carol, my mother, 6:40 p.m., whispering, "Faith, please, baby. I didn't know what else to do. The bills were too much." They thought I would cave. They always think the responsible one will cave. On Tuesday afternoon, I was in my office trying to work. The bell on my Main Street door jingled and Dean stormed in. He didn't say hello. He slammed my office door. "Are you insane?" he yelled. "You just cost me 60 grand. That territory is gone." He was cost me 60 grand. He was pacing, red-faced. "This is my little brother who I taught to ride a bike." I just looked at him and said, very calmly, "Did you ever think to ask me if we could use the cottage money for your gym? Did you ever think to ask the co-owner?" He stared at me. "Mom said you would do the math out loud. She was right. You always do the math. You always make us feel stupid." And then he kicked my trash can across the room. Papers flew everywhere, and he stormed out. I sat there for a long time looking at that trash can on its side. That evening, Tuesday evening, there was a knock on my apartment door. It was Brooke. She was holding a store-bought lasagna in a tinfoil pan. Her eyes were puffy. "Can I come in?" she said. "She sat at my table. She didn't eat." "Faith, Mom lied to us," she said. She told us you said you had to work, that you told us to go without you, that you chose your conference over us, and that you said the cottage was a money pit and we should sell it." I just stared at her. "Is that true?" she whispered. "Did you pay for everything?" I didn't answer. I went to my bedroom and brought out one copy of the green binder. Just one. I put it in front of her. Page after page, $14,200 property taxes, $18,500 septic. My personal account. Brooke started to cry silently. "I swear I didn't know." I said, "I know you didn't." That night I sent one single text to the main family group chat, the real one, not the secret Cottage Crew. The text said, "Wednesday, 7 p.m., Mom's house. Everyone must attend, including Grandma Ruth. Faith." No one replied for 20 minutes. Then one by one. "Mom, okay. Brooke, I'll be there. Dean, fine. Josh, understood." I spent all of Wednesday afternoon at the office making copies. 5 sets. 5 copies of every single receipt, every bank statement, every tax bill from the green binder. I put them in 5 crisp manila folders. I was going to do the math out loud. For the first and last time. And I was going to make them listen to every single dollar.
If you have ever felt invisible in your own family, this part is for you. Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. Carol's house. This was the house I grew up in. The house where I woke up alone 3 days earlier to a chore list. I arrived at 6:55 p.m. with Grandma Ruth holding my arm. I was carrying a tote bag. Inside that tote bag were 5 manila folders and 1 green 3-ring binder. My armor. The living room was already full. My mother Carol was on the couch, looking like she hadn't slept. My sister Brooke was next to her, eyes down. My brother Dean was leaning against the wall with his arms crossed, still angry. Josh, Brooke's husband, was sitting awkwardly on the ottoman. No one was on their phone. No one was laughing. I didn't say hello. I walked to the coffee table, the same coffee table where I found that chore note, and I laid the green binder down with a thud. Then I handed out the 5 folders. "What's this?" Dean snapped. "This," I said, "is the math out loud." I opened my copy of the binder. My hands were not shaking anymore. For 6 years since Dad died, I've been paying for this family. Not helping, paying. I started reading, out loud, slowly, every page. 2018, property taxes for the main house because Mom's Social Security didn't cover it, $2,400. 2019, property taxes for Lake Ardan cottage, $2,800. 2020, septic system failure at the cottage. The quote was $18,500. Mom said, "We have to sell." I said, "No, Dad built that. I paid it from my business account." I flipped a page. 2021, roof, storm damage. Insurance denied it. $9,800. I paid it. 2022, insurance hike. Plumbing, dock repair, $7,400. 2023, property taxes, both properties, $4,600. 2024, tree removal before it fell on the cottage, $3,200. I looked up. My mother's face was white. "The total," I said, and I made eye contact with each one of them, "is $61,400. $61,400. That is how much I have spent, quietly, without ever asking for a dollar back to keep Dad's house and Dad's cottage standing." The room was dead silent. You could hear the clock ticking. Brooke had her hand over her mouth. Josh was staring at the floor, reading the receipts like he couldn't believe it. Dean said, "Why didn't you tell us?" I laughed, a real sad laugh. "Tell you? Dean, when did you ever ask how the bills got paid? When did anyone ever ask? Mom would call and say, 'Faith, the tax letter came.' And I'd say, 'I'll handle it.' And you all just let me." My mom finally broke. She started sobbing. "Faith, I couldn't afford it," she cried. "After your father died, I couldn't afford anything. I was drowning. You were so good at it, I let you. And then the cottage kept needing more and more. And Dean had this opportunity. And I thought, if we sell it, we can finally breathe. And I can pay you back." "Pay me back?" I said softly. "Mom, you were going to sell my cottage that Dad put my name on because he knew this would happen. And you were going to use the money to buy Dean a gym without even telling me." Carol put her head in her hands. "Do you know what it felt like?" I continued. "To wake up in my own childhood bedroom and realize my entire family left the state without me. To be left a chore list like I'm the maid. To see my sister post best trip ever when she's not around Lowell." Brooke flinched. "Do you know what it felt like to find out my family has a secret group chat called Cottage Crew that I'm not in?" That hit them hard. Josh actually looked up, shocked. He didn't even know his wife had a secret chat. I took a deep breath. This was the moment I had rehearsed for 2 days. "Here is what is going to happen now," I said. And my voice was not angry. It was clear, like I was talking to a client. 1, The cottage will never be sold without my written consent. Ever. It stays in the family. It's Dad's legacy. 2. I am done being the family bank. My solo payments end today. $0 more from my personal account for shared property. 3. From now on, everything is legal and split. I have drafted a co-ownership agreement. All future expenses for the cottage, taxes, insurance, repairs, will be split 4 ways between Mom, Brooke, Dean, and me. You will each pay your share into an escrow account that I will manage as bookkeeper. If you don't pay, you lose usage rights for that season. It's in writing. I pulled out the agreement. 5 copies, already signed by me. Dean scoffed. You can't be serious. I don't have money for that. Then you don't use the cottage, Dean. That's the rule now. No more free rides. I looked at my mom. Her tears had stopped. She was listening. And 4, if you ever want me to come on a family trip again, you have to actually invite me, not leave me a chore list. Invite me. I sat down. My legs were shaking. For a full minute, no one spoke. Then my mother, Carol, slowly stood up. She walked around the coffee table, and she knelt down in front of me, which she has never done in my life. Will you forgive me? She whispered. I didn't say yes right away, because forgiveness without change is just permission. So I said, I will forgive you when I see change. And change did come, slowly. My mother offered me something that night. She said, you should be head of the family now. You tell us what to do. I refused. I said, no, I don't want to be head of the family. I want to be part of the family. There's a difference. We all signed the agreement that night, even Dean. The next week, my mom called me, not to ask me to pay a bill, to ask me to teach her how to use QuickBooks. She got a part-time job at the church office, doing their books. For the first time in 6 years, she started paying her own property taxes. Dean didn't get his gym franchise. That territory went to someone else. He was angry for months. But then he got a job as a manager at a local gym. He started saving his own $60,000. He still hasn't invited me to spot him, but he paid his first cottage tax share last month, on time without me asking. Brooke? Brooke showed up at my apartment the next Sunday with Ava. She said, we missed you at the lake. It wasn't the best trip ever. It was the quietest trip ever. Because you weren't there to make the grocery list or fix the Wi-Fi or tell Dad's story about the loon on the lake. She apologized, and this time she brought a homemade lasagna. And Grandma Ruth? She now lives at the cottage for 2 weeks every summer, on purpose, with a ramp. Because I make sure her medication is packed and her iPad is charged. 1 year later, Labor Day weekend again. This time, my phone rang at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. It was my mom. Faith, honey, we're all leaving for the cottage in an hour. I made coffee. Your room is ready. Are you coming? I looked at my green binder on the shelf. I don't need to hide it anymore. Everyone knows what's in it. I said, yes, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And Mom? Yes, honey? Don't post without me. I want to be in the picture this time. She laughed and cried a little. We spent the whole weekend at Lake Ardan, all of us. We swam. We ate too much. At night, we sat on the dock and listened to the loons. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't doing the math in my head. I was just there, part of the family. If you are the faith in your family, the responsible one, the bookkeeper, the one who always handles it, I see you. Keeping a family together shouldn't cost you your place in it. You are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to do the math out loud. And if this story hit you in the chest the way it hit me living it, do me a favor. Leave a comment below and tell me, have you ever been left out by the people you did the most for? I read every single one. Thank you for being here for this whole story. It means more than you know.